This is the 56th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of August, in the countdown to Dreamforce August 2011. This episode is titled Future Messaging Hype. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing experts, and I'm your host, Jason Atwood. Joining me from the Batcave of Hypeness, who again looks at me like I have three heads because I come up with these things as we do it, is Justin, the co-host of said podcast. Justin, how are you today?
That was a remarkable intro. Thank you for that.
You're extremely welcome. So we got some agendas, some stuff to talk about.
We always have an agenda.
We always have an agenda. So we're going to talk about Netflix is coming to Chromebooks. Talking about 5 most overhyped cloud technologies. I love that. That's a good talking point. We have the future of messaging, and then of course at the end we have Dreamforce 11 news, including a recap of the contest and some other news that we want to talk about, and we'll talk about that at the end. And then we'll get to our CloudFocus app pick of the week, where I always don't like putting it because I'm convinced that you go look at it and play with it immediately.
What? You don't like to put it on the wave?
Yeah. Well, this morning we had a conflict. We had a CloudFocus app pick of the week conflict, and I could have pulled rank because I had installed it hours earlier than you.
Yeah, but you don't like it, so.
Well, we're going to talk about it anyway. It's not going to be an app pick of the week, but it's going to talk about it anyway.
That's what happens when we both pick an app of the week.
It becomes
a topic.
It becomes a topic. So, things that are not topics, or I guess semi-topics. Netflix is coming to our favorite, the Chromebook. Netflix streaming. Actually, covered 2 pieces of Netflix news. I'll sneak another piece in. They had an outage. Amazon had an outage in their Ireland data center, and it took down Netflix.
A little too many Guinnesses.
I guess someone was it happens, and I guess it happens so infrequently now that it kind of makes news that there's an outage in one of these things.
I did not notice.
Yeah,
and I use Netflix quite often on my iPad as well as my Apple TV to watch television shows and various movies, and I did not notice. I don't have a Chromebook. If I did have a Chromebook, I would hope that Netflix would work on it, so this is good news for Chromebook users.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, it's certainly, allows it to do one more thing.
Well, I mean, I don't generally use Netflix on my laptop.
There you go.
But if I had a Chromebook, I probably wouldn't have an iPad. I wonder, I don't have a Chromebook because I have a laptop and an iPad. I wonder if people who buy Chromebooks because they don't have iPads and they just don't want a tablet, so they want a little, an easy, breezy, small, lightweight type of machine. So if I didn't have an iPad and I did have a Chromebook, I would watch Netflix on my Chromebook.
Yeah, I used to watch it on the laptop, all the time. But now it seems like I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't need it. There's no gap there. But
if I'm laying in bed and I want to watch something on Netflix, well, A, I can put it on my TV, or B, I can use I'd much rather lay in bed with an iPad than with a 15-inch laptop.
And I guess the other Netflix, if we're talking about our entertainment, streaming, cloud stuff, news. We talked about it a little bit the other day about how Apple is getting into it and how the rumors are starting to circulate about Apple getting into the full Netflix competitor, and how they're now allowing you to download TV shows, which is done well on the iPad, on the Apple TV. It's not done as well on the iPad. You can still do it, but it actually has to download the whole thing, as opposed to on the Apple TV, it actually just starts to stream, which in my apartment with good internet works really well.
I complained about it a little bit over
and
Twitter. We had a little conversation about it.
And your internet in your apartment, it didn't work.
I haven't tried it since.
Yeah.
What was interesting was that what we talked about last week was I went to your apartment and said, I want to see, because you said it was so fast, so we turned it on and started watching one of your seasons, or Sons of Anarchy, I think you had started playing, and I was like, wow, it started immediately. For me, that did not happen. That wasn't my experience.
Right.
Let's try what we talked about. So we logged you out of the Apple TV and logged me in to the Apple TV using my Apple ID, and there was all my stuff.
Yep.
All my stuff traveled with me. I was able to start up an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Season 6, getting ready for Season 7. And it started up immediately. Interestingly enough, I got an email from Apple immediately to my email that's associated with my Apple ID saying, "Hey, Justin, just wanted to let you know that we noticed that one of your purchases was played on a piece of hardware that's not registered or has not been registered or
before
or something like that." Because I don't know how they would know that like your Apple TV is not my Apple TV.
Well, they would know because they have different IDs. There's definitely hardware IDs.
Yeah, but I guess because I'm signed in somewhere else. I mean,
yeah, no, it's clearly it was a good thing. I'm glad they didn't stop us.
They didn't stop us. Maybe they will because they'll see people doing it. Although it's my stuff.
Yeah, it's my stuff. As long as my username and password, I love the concept of being able to walk over to someone's house. The Apple TV is so tiny, you literally could just take it with you. So if that was the device that you wanted to get the stuff, it's just, it's a power cord and a HDMI, which everybody has.
I don't generally walk around with those things.
I've traveled with it. I've literally put the Apple TV and traveled with it because it's a nice way when you're at a hotel and you're like, well, what are we going to watch? Oh, wait, I have something I have tons of stuff to watch. I don't have to watch like regular TV because you don't have your DVR, and we've gotten so used to just watching what we want to watch when we want to watch it that like watching regular TV, I don't watch regular TV anymore unless it's sports.
I just wonder, like, maybe it was like we don't want you logged in two different places at one time. Because in theory, if I'm logged in at my apartment,
right,
I go to your apartment, I log in,
and
I leave myself logged in.
Yep.
Here you go. Enjoy all my stuff.
Yes. You have purchased a lot of Apple TV.
Enjoy
TV
all
shows.
my TV shows.
Right.
Well, that's not what Apple wants.
I guess not, but it's you accessing it. You gave me permission. Is it any worse than you walking in with a laptop full of stuff that you had logged in as your iTunes account and just left the laptop at my house?
No, it's the same difference.
Same thing.
But I'd be out of laptop.
Well, yeah. Well, now you're out of password. Anyway, so but again, I think it's interesting because there's rumors of them doing a full-on Netflix competitor. Rumors of them allowing movies to be downloaded like that again,
this stuff.
Which will really push me to again doing lots more. So that's
Where
Netflix.
Where did we start with this? Netflix on Chromebooks.
And there it is.
You always get us to Apple, don't you?
Yeah, it sort of does. Well, let's talk about non-Apple things because they don't actually make this. They don't make this list. But let's talk about the 5 most overhyped. These are according to the readers of Read Write Cloud. The 5 most overhyped cloud technologies.
By the way, before we get into this, when I was having my issue with the streaming of TV shows on my Apple TV, earlier in the day, I had purchased Season 6 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on the Apple TV. And my girlfriend who was over was like, wow, that's really great. You don't even have to download it. Like, it's just there.
Right.
I was like, yeah, it's awesome. We'll watch them later, whenever. And she's like, that's so cool. And then we watched the first one, and the first one played immediately. She's like, wow, this is really great. Then the second one took like 15 minutes to start, and she was like, this cloud thing stinks. Like, it took literally no time for... And it was like, this cloud thing, it's terrible.
This cloud thing stinks.
Yeah,
wow.
That's where it went.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
So this headline, the 5 most overhyped cloud technologies, sort of reminded me of that.
You could probably put number 1, cloud.
Yeah.
Because
cloud,
it's become such a
cloud.
become such a bad or such a word that means everything that it's like it means internet, it means iCloud, it means everything. So number 1, NoSQL. NoSQL, they say here is that they're not surprised that it's the number 1 most overhyped thing. Again, this is according to users. They did a poll. I think I actually voted in this poll at one point. So it was on Read Write Cloud. NoSQL is an open source database system that's supposed to keep you away from the actual things of SQL, right? Of traditional relational databases. From the cloud standpoint, it's never really run. I've never run across it. I mean, I deal with databases and databases in the cloud, and I deal with hardcore databases. I never really run across NoSQL, so I don't really have much to say on it being an overhyped cloud technology because I don't really run across it very much in my cloud path. Number 2, I think, is more interesting, is software as a service.
There's no reason for this to be on the list. I don't agree with this being on the list.
All right, we'll talk about it.
If there's anything that should be hyped about cloud computing, it is software as a service. That, like, I agree with things further on down the list that are more hype machines than, real concrete examples of very successful cloud technologies. But software as a service is, even the examples they give, success like Salesforce, WebEx, Google Apps. I agree with the writer of this post that I'm extremely surprised that this is like an overhyped thing, software as a service. Totally appropriately hyped.
But this isn't really, I don't think this is about those companies. I think this is about a terminology.
No, I didn't mean it to say like those particular companies. I mean the terminology software as a service is not something that's hype, it's real. Like, that's how I take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's ones further on down the list, like platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, that are more new, and though real, could be more hype machines than software as a service, which is something that's been delivered successfully for
years.
Yep. And I don't think it should be number 2 on the most overhyped list.
Right, because, I guess if you're not thinking hype is something that doesn't deliver, then if you're saying hype that means something that a lot of people are putting a lot of marketing dollars behind, then I think it should be on the list. If you're talking about something that's hyped and not delivered, kind of like Microsoft hypes, when Microsoft hypes things and then doesn't deliver them, this is not delivered. This is I think something that people are just, maybe the readers are not really loving, that is just constantly talked about. It's SaaS, it's software as a service. It's one of those terms I think 95 people out of 100 wouldn't know what that means.
I would think 99 out of 100.
99. People. Well, maybe if you get
walk out. We're in Times Square. You walk outside.
That's not a good sample.
Why not?
Tourists in Times Square.
It's a general.
Well, if I go over down
cross sample of America right there.
If I go down to Wall Street, it's a different example. If I talk about stocks and bonds, I go out saying what's a butterfly spread in Times Square, and I go down to Wall Street and ask what's a butterfly spread. I think I'll get a better percentage.
That's more of
I'm a Dreamforce, and I say,
well, that's not the audience. I think you want just a general group of people, and I think that's what Times Square is. Just
let's go to Bubblegum.
Bubblegum. You walk right in there. You say,
"What software as
a service?" They won't know. They'll say, "Give me some shrimp."
That's true. Number 3. Let's actually skip 4 and 5. We'll just put 4 and 5 in the same list because they're kind of together, and we'll come back to 3, which I think is the more interesting one to talk about. 4 and 5 are infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, and they're tied. Again, I think there are things that are hard to define, and so people use them
more in my hype list.
Yeah,
because they're real, right? Amazon Web Services, real. Google, as far as infrastructure, Google platform as a service. People have written apps on the Google App Engine, Force.com, certainly. Heroku, but I don't know. I mean, these are more like still inching their way towards being a more mainstream thing, whereas software as a service is a real mainstream solution for people.
Well, I think that's a good point, is that software as a service is for any size company, right? Because it is something that even any size organization can use software as a service. So like WebEx, you can have a WebEx account, and that's it. You can have a Google account. You can have a Salesforce account. You can sort of start small. Infrastructure as a service and platform as a service aren't really small starting points. They're more meant for bigger organizations that have the IT staff who are doing infrastructure type things and using these other ways of doing it. So they're not like, I don't think of a small organization saying, we have 5 people and we're using infrastructure as a service. No, they're probably using software as a service because they don't have even the IT to take on something like that. So they're overhyped because we're not in the space where most of these people are playing with this stuff. They're more playing in the software as a service because it's much easier to get in and out of software as a service than it is these other 2. That leads us to the last one, or the middle, is number 3, which I perfectly think is, this probably goes back to one of our first podcasts, but it's clearly the most overhyped. Not just overhyped, just sort of, it's just one of those terms that, is it real? Does it really mean what it means? Which is private clouds. Again, private clouds. It depends where you go with cloud computing. Depends how you define it. If you define it in a way of saying it's just a bunch of virtualization, fine, you can put virtualization anywhere. If you say that it's more meant for different disparate groups of people all using one virtualized, system software that is hosted, that's sort of external, publicly available, then private cloud doesn't really fall into that. And then it's hard to distinguish between private cloud and what we would just call, I don't know, servers in someone's database, in someone's system. But yeah, I'm actually interested. The more interesting thing about private clouds is it's just not number one, right?
I would have thought private cloud would be number one.
I'm also interested that I guess maybe it's because the way they made up their poll. I don't remember where what was it, like if there were a bunch of them. But was there a type in? Because I think a lot of this doesn't seem like general consumers, I don't think would know most of these. And would they type in things like iCloud or something? So that's overhyped because I don't even know what it is.
I don't know if general consumers are reading read-write cloud.
But are they listening to the CloudFocus Weekly?
Probably not.
Alrighty, then we're moving on. Then let's get them back.
Back.
So now we got this.
Rope them in.
So we got the future of messaging.
Yeah, rope them in with the messaging.
This actually came about. This is a little side topic because a new app came out this morning, or I think it was in the 8th, so 2 days ago, which we both noticed basically in the morning this morning and downloaded, which is Facebook put out a new app called Facebook Messages.
Facebook Messenger.
Messenger, which is a little odd because it's already built into the regular Facebook iPhone app, but they've taken that out and made it into, like what one of your picks was the other week, was WhatsApp. And where iPhone is going in terms of, or iOS is building out called iMessages. I think it's iMessages. But basically everybody's getting into this game of these smaller, I won't call them, they're somewhere between chat and text. But the world of messaging is changing, right? It has been changing with text. Text has taken a lot off. People don't, they're definitely not using email as much. People are using text as a way to communicate. Then they find, text is expensive. It's you get charged for it. So these companies, I think, are going in and saying, Apple and Facebook, Google's probably getting there with Google Plus somewhere, and saying, listen, it's just short bursts of text going back and forth over the internet. They're just email light. Why do you have to charge for it? It's no different. So they're coming up with ways to sort of circumvent what a lot of us, put a lot of time into and make it look and feel like text or SMS. And so, here's one that connects right into Facebook, and then of course that makes it very compelling, right? It does the pictures, It does the inline, it does notifications, so it feels like it. You could sit it on your dock and then it would work. I don't think it works. It's not universal, so it doesn't work on the iPad. And I think where they I think it's interesting that they kind of bring it into their messaging platform. I kind of been more interested in what Apple's going to do, because Apple's sort of saying, we're going to do it so it's persistent. We're going to do it persistent, so it's going to be, if I start a conversation on this device and then go over to this other device, that conversation is waiting right there for me. Where to me, that's awesome. Because I pick up my iPad all the time, and I'm like, I want to I can't text from here. But I would iMessage you. I'll iMessage you all day long.
Yeah, I get upset when I pick up my iPad and WhatsApp doesn't work on it. Like, you can't even get it onto the iPad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a failure.
I don't know what the deal is. Maybe Apple doesn't want it on there.
There's tons of other apps that work on. There's SMS apps that work on it.
I don't know. It doesn't work on there. But,
interesting.
I love this idea for a couple of reasons. One, I already use WhatsApp, so I like these third-party cross-platform.
But do you want a bunch of them? Like, how many places do you want to go?
A bunch of them, but let me go. Let me make my argument, because I know you don't like it.
I want short little bursts.
Yeah, I get it. I like my WhatsApp. I like it because it's cross-platform, and I got friends that are on Blackberries, and I got friends that are on Android phones that have the app, and we can all be in a group message together, and it works really well. Facebook Messenger sort of takes that to the next level, because you almost,
I almost guarantee you have more friends on Facebook than you do contacts in your contact book. Not you. Not you. Because I know you. But you, as I speak to the microphone, and who's listening at home, most likely have more contacts on Facebook than you do in your address book on your phone or on your computer.
Probably.
Most likely. Not you, Jason, because I know you, and you have almost probably 1,000 contacts in your address book. So from right there, you have a much wider spread of, who can I message, and most people are already on Facebook. And then, again, this works cross-platform to say, this is just the short-form messaging. You don't have to go into the full-on app if you don't want to. You just have this one thing that has the notifications. It feels like SMS, and it works over the internet, so you're not burning through your SMS credits with your phone company. In the article that I was reading about it on TechCrunch that said, this is the launch, and that's where I saw it and then downloaded it. It was talking about how Facebook has that unique identifier point where you're Facebook friends, and that's the person, right? It's just that person.
Right.
iMessage is going to have a bit of an issue with identifying, and this is one of the things that FaceTime I think sort of suffers from, is like how to know that I can FaceTime somebody and like where to FaceTime them. Should I FaceTime their email address? Should I FaceTime their phone number?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's not an iPhone? So like iMessage is going to have that kind of problem where it's like, if they don't have an iOS device, I can't use this thing. That's where this Facebook Messenger sort of picks up and becomes more compelling. It's also free.
Yeah, I also, but for me, and I'm, again, I'm probably the opposite. I generally use Facebook for the social side of it, the very specific social, because they have not had the good privacy controls, not in terms of like people can see, but like I want to be able to have a place that if I want to post that I had pizza and it was the best darn pizza I ever had, that's not Twitter to me, that's not LinkedIn to me, that's not Google Plus to me, that's Facebook to me, because it's a small group of people. So I'm not going to. I don't want to have more people in Facebook to put onto Facebook messages. I actually want to use a device that I can go out to multiple things. Let me just one point that you said about iMessage.
It was about that, and I'll let you get to iMessage in a moment. What you just said. So two things. One, it's funny you said something about the privacy thing, because I started a Facebook message for the group of us at Arkus, the core four, to steal a Yankee phrase, and I was gonna say something on there, and then I thought twice about it and didn't, even though I knew. It's just that's not going on my wall. It's not going on your wall. It's a private message between the four of us. I didn't put it on there just because of that privacy issue with Facebook. So I will say I actually thought about it before I hit send and said, nope, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to delete it and not send it.
Right.
And if I'll send this some other way. The other point was, it is a private thing. Yeah. It's not like on my wall or something. No. It's just it's like SMS, but like I mentioned, groups. You can have groups, and soon you'll probably have video, and you also have this list of friends that it's like a bigger, it's using your Facebook friends as sort of your catalog or your address book. So go ahead.
I said the iMessage thing, I think the way that they're gonna do very well is because it does check for you. It does know. And if you're texting somebody and they have iMessage, it'll just turn the button from send green to send blue. And then you'll be able to send it over iMessage.
So when you and I text, it's right in the same text message app, and it's just gonna, because we both have iPhones, it's gonna send you an iMessage instead of a text.
I think it's gonna.
Probably AT&T and Verizon must really hate this.
It's exactly the way it should be done, and then it's gonna have stuff that the SMS doesn't have. It's gonna have read receipts, and it's gonna have instant notification if someone's typing back to you.
Yeah, so WhatsApp has all that stuff, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's great watching. So then if you're having a conversation with somebody.
The thing is, iMessage is not cross-platform. It's iOS specific, and I like.
But if I'm in the same app, I don't care. If they built Facebook messages into the same app, I wouldn't care, because I just don't want to have to be floating around different apps to see where this thing's coming from. I mean, it's already bad enough with Twitter. People use Twitter for messaging. many examples of people telling me they're late for meetings, and they're tweeting me that they're late for a meeting. Then you have Mail, which has its own set of stuff on it. Then you have LinkedIn. People send LinkedIn messages, and I get those alerts. We'll have iMessage, which will be built into the SMS thing. So I think that'll be very compelling for me to stay right there. Facebook messages, great. I actually, you say I didn't like it. I do like it because I like that it gives me a place to go, as opposed to in Facebook, it is kind of, in the app, you have to kind of go 4 levels in to get to that place. I think the reason they brought it out, it reminds me of Chatter, actually. It's like Salesforce building Chatter, the app, versus building it inside of Chatter Mobile. They could have just said it's inside of Chatter Mobile, everybody download Chatter Mobile and use Chatter. But they decided to make it its own app because you kind of want to go in and immediately start. You don't want to have to go in and then go in and then go in. So I think that's why they did it, and I think it's very smart. I mean, I don't care. It's all on one device to me, but I just think it's interesting now the way we're communicating. I actually don't like Facebook messages because I don't like getting an email that then is something I have to go to someplace to go see. Although now you can reply and you can do sort of, you can kind of have the conversation. So, but cool. Doesn't include groups, which I thought was kind of silly. So if you're in a group, you can't see the messages on the group. You can kind of do that on. Yeah, it's a little.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, again, what's the difference between a conversation that's happening in a group, a Facebook group, and a set of messages going out to a group of people? Isn't that sort of the same thing?
Sort of the same thing, except I think that this is just part of it's really, it takes a right turn. It's saying this is really just the messenger platform. Right. It's not part of Facebook wall, Facebook groups, Facebook this, Facebook that. It's literally just messaging back.
And I hope that Google comes out with something that's competitive as well. All right, so the last thing before we get to our CloudFocus app pick of the week is Dreamforce 11 news. I thought I'd give you a little bit of behind the scenes approach to what's going on here. We're actually we're exhibitors. We told everybody that, so we're going to be in booth 30. Come find us. But in the last couple of days, we've been doing a lot of the prepping, and I've tweeted a few times that we're ordering swag and getting the stuff ready. I will say it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work preparing for us, a lot of work getting things ready. I mean, you would think, we're not Fujitsu or whatever with these massive booths. They must have 2 or 3 people on staff that just do this. It's a lot of paperwork, but we're really excited. I mean, I think it's going to be a great Dreamforce. I was even looking at where our partners were on the map to be like, oh, there's our partner there, and there's our other partner. I can't wait to go visit them. So, the hype I'm sort of feeling is coming. I'm getting more and more excited about Dreamforce. It's certainly ordering more stuff, especially stuff to wear for us, is getting kind of fun. T-shirts. Speaking of T-shirts, T-shirt contest. So
I was just logging into the Dreamforce app to check out the Arkus T-shirt group to see how many people are in the group, and it looks like there are 49 people in the group.
Wow, almost 50 people. So what are the rules, Justin, for the Arkus T-shirt contest? And what is
repeat the rules for everyone who listens on a week-to-week basis. So hopefully they won't go away. We'll keep them hanging with the CloudFocus app pick of the week teas. So the rules.
Mine's awesome, by the way.
Yours is awesome.
I was using it all morning.
Really?
When I actually picked something, I just want to let you know, I actually use it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't use mine.
Yeah. So that makes it more interesting.
All right. So the rules. Go to the Dreamforce app.
Nobody talks about the contest.
Nobody talks
Never
about
mention
it.
the contest.
So go to the Dreamforce app and join the group called Arkus T-shirt Contest Group. That's the first step. The second step is to go to Twitter and follow Arkus Inc. Or you can like Arkus Inc. on Facebook. One or the other. You can totally do both.
Or.
There's an or?
Yep.
What's the other one?
We added in last week, which is that if you don't use Facebook or Twitter, which again, we can't imagine that you don't do either, but I can imagine of the 30,000 people coming to Dreamforce, there might be people out there who are huge podcast listeners.
16?
There's all 16 of you. You can just go over to the Cloud Expo part and follow Arkus, the project.
Arkus on the Cloud Expo.
Because we figured that's just as good.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I'm going to leave that out of the rules for now.
you can just mention it every time.
Every single time.
The third one, tweet or post hashtag Safe Harbor T-shirt, one word, on Twitter or the Dreamforce portal. You can find that topic on the left-hand side of the group. All these rules are on the left side in the description of the or in the T-shirt contest group. And the fourth and most important rule is to listen to this podcast for the secret word.
That's going to be in next week's podcast.
Next week's podcast?
And the week after.
And the week after.
And there will be different ones.
2 different words?
Well, yes.
Oh, boy. And what we don't want to see is that word floating around Twitter.
Oh, no.
We will dock you. We will not give you a T-shirt.
We will find you. We use good tools to do that. So that's great. And the T-shirt is actually the Safe Harbor T-shirt, which has a picture of the Safe Harbor or a likeness of it and an Arkus logo, and it says, "Have you seen me?" It's a play on the millions of times you're going to see it.
It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. I wear it almost every other day. All right. Speaking of things I use a lot today, you got our CloudFocus app pick of the week.
Let's do it.
Rolls right off the tongue. What's your pick this week?
My pick is a tool called Snaps Pro X.
You know what I'm really excited about for this pick?
What?
I'm really excited how you work this into some sort of cloud thing, because this has absolutely nothing to do with the cloud other than one thing. But this is going to be a nice little way for you to be like, oh, but it does this, and it's sort of what? No, cloudy. So go for it. Oh, you're just looking at me like, oh wait, I forgot that I was supposed to be picking things.
That? No, let me talk about Snaps Pro for a moment. Snaps with a Z, so it's S-N-A, just like that. S-N-A-P-Z Pro X, which is a screen capture software.
I could have sworn you picked this before too.
No, I picked
the other one.
I picked Screen Steps, which is for training.
Oh, that's right.
And Snaps Pro X is a product that allows you to either do screenshots or screencasts. So you can basically, and I'm picking this because we're putting out a product soon, hopefully by Dreamforce, on the App Exchange.
Wow, you're gonna bring that? You're gonna let that go out into the ethosphere?
People know about this.
We're putting out a product, you say?
People know about this.
We're putting out a product.
Yeah, people know about this.
You think we're putting out a product?
I hope so. If Salesforce lets us.
Let's just say it has not been an easy road.
I'm going to write a blog post about the security review process one day, and it's going to be awesome.
The marketing review has been harder than the security review so far.
Both of them.
Yep.
Anyway, so, I had to create a video of the functionality of this product, and I used Snaps Pro X to do so. Basically, you start up Snaps Pro, and you click a command key, like a quick shortcut key, and it starts recording in high definition everything that's going on your screen in a box that you sort of say. You can say, do the whole screen, do this, do that, do this window, what have you. And that will record in high definition and then export it out to a QuickTime file. And you can email that. You can put it directly up to the web if you'd like.
Oh, so there's the cloud part.
That's the cloud
web
part.
It's right there. It's like the web. So
it's like the web.
Right.
Anyway, this is from Ambrosia Software, who makes a lot of software.
By the way, an extremely old, very old, very well known Mac publisher.
They make a lot of stuff. They make a lot of stuff. They make utilities. They make games. They have iPhone apps. They have iPad apps. They have a lot of stuff. Anyway, it's $69 if you're looking for a fairly inexpensive, full-featured screencast, screen capture software. Snaps Pro X is one that I've been using and have quite enjoyed for its simplicity as well as its robust set of features.
Awesome pick. I've used it before. I've heard it mentioned a ton. I think it's been on every other pick show. It's a really nice.
Yeah, it's easy to use. It's pretty cool. So what are you showing me?
So I'm showing you.
You have your iPad out.
Yes, I have my iPad out. So this is going along your pick of the week from a couple weeks ago. We've kind of made
Which was what?
where you picked, or did you pick it or did I pick it?
What?
The streaming music. Well, you picked Pandora.
I picked Pandora.
Then I think I picked Spotify,
which we're both on.
Which you then talked about getting. I just downgraded my account the other day.
I got my free one.
Yep, and so I'm now in free, but I paid my $4.99 to try it for a month, basically. But when I had been hearing about Spotify coming, I'd heard about this other thing. So there's, and it's called Rdio. It's sort of short for radio. And it is
So it's radio without the A?
It's radio without the A. Keep the A for awesome. So what is it, you ask?
What is it?
It's another streaming system. Another streaming web service. It's actually put out by CBS Interactive, which is kind of interesting. And it's just currently been launching in the States. It's been overseas for a while, so they test market over there.
Man.
I know it's very few times that they get something better, but they had Spotify before us, and they had Rdio, I think,
what is this?
before us. So Rdio for the iPad is the reason it kind of popped in my existence. I was looking around, I saw it, and it's yet another streaming. The thing that I'm showing you now is offline. So you can go through, and as you're listening to stuff, and click bring offline, bring offline, bring offline, and here it is. You can see I'm in airplane mode, and I'm playing. I can play it, whatever. But I think we're gonna get sued if we do this.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
But anyway, that's a song that's playing offline on my iPad. So kind of creating that little iTunes-like
Where does it
assistant.
store itself?
Stores it in the iPhone. Stores it on the app.
Does it take space?
Of course it does. It's an app.
So it's really down there.
It's down there.
Down there.
Yeah, it's down there.
So I got to make sure that there's space on my iPad in order to make sure it's down there. So it doesn't sync like Spotify syncs, which is like, have Spotify open, mark a playlist for sync, be on the same Wi-Fi, and then it'll sync down kind of deal.
Well, it can do that. I mean, it can. You can obviously go and do things like just play a song from stuff you see. You can, I can see songs, I can play them immediately. There's playlists, there's heavy collection playlists.
So you have to go find music, though.
Yeah.
It's like Spotify. You have to go find it.
It's like Spotify.
Pandora still takes the cake.
But no, here's the thing.
All right.
I went into
Recommendations?
playlists. And I went into, so I found some really fun playlists. I'm trying to find it now. Where was I? Where was it that I found some really cool stuff? Here it was. Heavy rotation. Where was it?
What does that recommendation engine do?
So it'll recommend it based on what you've been listening to. I haven't been listening to enough. But it has top.
Oh,
here it was top. So it has top albums, top songs, and then top playlists. So I just went and found a cool, I was looking into a bumpin' one, or here's a house and dance mix playlist, and you just listen to the whole playlist. So it's basically someone else has created these cool playlists that everybody's listening to, and it has all the top songs in it. You say play.
Yeah, Spotify has all that sharing playlist stuff.
So I mean, I think it's another one. It's in the same range. It's $4.99 a month. I guess I'm in the trial right now. You can. I guess it's doing all the same stuff, right? It's people powered, it's play offline, it's listen to music. It's just creating yet another, who are people going to buy music now if we have so many choices to just go listen to music for free?
It's tough. I mean,
especially
this
when
one comes down offline. I mean, this is pretty great. When you pull it offline, do you get commercials and such?
I haven't heard a commercial. I haven't heard anything.
Spotify, I've been getting commercials, and they're annoying commercials.
Oh, really?
I have to say, you start playing a song, and then you go to an album, you want to listen to the album, and you start playing an album, it plays the first song, it plays the second song, then you have a minute-long commercial that
really?
Is like a song. It's like a commercial for a song. It's the weirdest thing. They'll just start playing this song, and it's this is a commercial for this song. Go get the album or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Pandora is still my fave.
I like Pandora, but I don't like the sometimes the mixes. They're just the same 7 songs. Maybe it's just the mixes I found, but they're just the same.
Well, don't you make your own?
No.
Oh, I make my own.
No, I like going and just say, listen, I don't know what I want to listen to. I want to listen to this genre now.
That's right. All I do is type in an artist name and hit go. And then it go. I've one station that I created 5 years ago that's still getting better.
I've not experienced it that way. I've only experienced it but I like this because it'll let me sort of say, okay, someone else has created a playlist that's about this genre that I like. So I'm listening to it, I'm hearing the stuff I like, but I'm also hearing new stuff I haven't heard. So again, I like it.
So you got the Milli Vanilli and the Britney Spears.
And the Britney Spears, yes. So anyway, RDO, it's RDIO. There's an iPad.
I'm going to download that. Is it free?
It's free to sign up for now. You can get a trial. I don't know if it's what's continuing.
Do that right now. I'm going to pull my iPad out.
You should do that.
Here it is. It's trusty. It's handy.
All right. So that's it. So that's the CloudFocus app picks of the week. It's RDO, free download, free trial. Give it a shot. I mean, again, the music.
I'm giving it a shot right now.
The music scene now is it's almost becoming, and I know this is for artists, this is probably not what they want to hear, but it's almost becoming like music is it's like devaluing. People are enjoying it more, but it's devaluing the purchase of it. Because $4.99 all you can eat, the subscription kind of just eat as much as you want. People are, I think, less and less out to buy things, and I think that's probably going to end up hurting the music industry a little bit.
This will also work on my iPhone.
Yes, it will, which is nice. So that's it. If you want to read about the blog post, the blog post is coming up tomorrow, Thursday or Friday, is a Dreamforce blog post about the top 10 reasons to go to Dreamforce 11. A Redux. So that was
written by the partner that shall
very, very popular last time. So we thought we'd redux it. So top 10 new reasons to go.
Yeah. I think some of them are repeated.
That's blog.arkusinc.com. Again, if you're doing the contest, you want to follow us, twitter.com/arkusinc. Justin here is at twitter.com/Just Edelstein, and I'm at twitter.com/Jason M. Atwood. You can always go to Facebook, facebook.com/ArkusInc. We've set up our Foursquare page, so I think we're at foursquare.com/ArkusInc. And we're also on iTunes. We're not in RDO yet, and we're not in Spotify. I don't know if they really have podcast stuff yet. We should get in there. But iTunes, subscribe.
I just downloaded it.
Very good.
And it showed up on my iPhone. Boom.
Love that.
Love that. That's my favorite thing.
My favorite thing is looking at our agenda in the Google Wave.
Ooh, I already mentioned Wave today.
Oh, you did? All right.
Yeah, I snuck it in early.
So that's it, and we'll see you next week. We're going to keep going our countdown to Dreamforce. We'll probably have more Dreamforce stuff next week as we get closer and closer. But until then, and as always, enjoy those cloudy days.